Hello, everybody. This is Sam from Kaizen, just dropping in to your email box early. September has not started yet. I hope that you're all still enjoying some sand and some sun and some relaxation or traveling, whatever it is that you have going on right now. I hope that it is enjoyable. But I did want this to land in your inbox before the first day of school, perhaps as some preventative planning so that the transition to September can be a smooth one. Um, a lot of our kiddos who struggle with executive skill functioning and are struggling to stay organized and manage their time independently really do need our support. And with some planning, a lot of problems can be eliminated or at least alleviated. So I have my sort of go-to September 6th. So I encourage families to take a look at these 6 items that I'm going to share with you today. I'm going to take you through each one. I'll do a brief overview. And if you do have any questions or you need clarification or some links, just email me and I am happy to send that to you. Testing out a new delivery model. Obviously, this is called Screencastify. So this is a screencast rather than me writing all this out and you having to read it all. I've put together a little presentation for you. Again, I welcome your feedback. Just before I jump into those September 6th, I would like you to just remember why we're doing what we're doing. And there is always science and research and research-based evidence behind what we do. We don't just sort of pick it out of the sky, so to speak, but it is rooted in neuroscience. So just a quick reminder that executive skills are developmental in nature. Our students, our children need our support. These are learned skills. They are not born with these skills already in place. Just like learning to bike, some will pick up faster than others, but they do have to learn them. I was super fortunate. I got to go to London this summer. I was floating down the Thames on the cruise and looked up, and there was Big Ben with scaffolding all around it, which I was a little disheartened actually. But the cool thing that happened for me was I immediately thought of students, and I thought, wow, what a great picture to emphasize how executive functioning support works. Scaffolding, that's what we are as parents and educators. We are the scaffolding around the main structure to support and encourage and hold up that structure as it's being built. It's not permanent, it's temporary. Sometimes it'll take longer. From what I understand, Big Ben has a long journey ahead. But the scaffolding will be removed one day, so it can be freestanding on its own for tourists to take pictures of in its perfection. Another analogy that's used for executive skills is, of course, the air traffic controller of the brain. This is we're actually working on kids' brains as we support their executive skill functioning. So please remember, these are developmental skills that we need to teach and support and coach. Teenagers, of course, can be particularly tricky. So I have some tips in here of the language we use with kids to parent and teach a growing brain. Please keep in mind, if you have an ADD kiddo, their executive skill acquisition can be delayed, really. Their executive age could be up to 30% behind their peers. So, for example, if you're looking at a 14-year-old, chronological age, his or her executive skill age may only be around 9. So, something to keep in mind as well if you are parenting a student who has been diagnosed with ADD. Executive skills weaknesses, they look like this. This is not an exhaustive list, but I wrote down everything I could think of that has to do with executive skills, the common sort of complaints or concerns. These top 6, if you look at the areas in yellow here, the top 6 that I'm going to recommend to you today will at least alleviate, if not eliminate, these concerns, especially the emotional regulation piece, the frustration piece that you and your child may be experiencing. So what are they? I'm going to run through them quickly here, and then I promise you I will just revisit them briefly in our little presentation here. Organization. Kids are super pumped usually to this is the one part they're usually really excited about: new supplies, new stuff for school. So this is a great opportunity to um, capitalize on their motivation to be organized and buy new things, to sort of have that conversation surrounding their organization. Time management and its connection to emotional regulation. So the importance of sitting down as a family, managing our time, and how that can really impact the emotions and tension and stress in a family. Study routines, my tried, tested, and true tower of learning. I'm going to share that with you today. Brain boosters to keep in mind, which are great. We often remember these as we remember as parents. We remember to emphasize the send brain boosters when kids are little, but somehow as they get older, we sometimes forget those. So I have something there to promote brain development, growth, and overall health. Technology management, our favorite as parents and educators. How can we and should we? And finally, number 6, which is near and dear to my heart, which is picking, if you're going to pick on something, picking on brains and not hearts. And that's the language we use when parenting and teaching our children. So I'm going to zoom off of webcam because I don't think you're going to want to look at me for this whole entire presentation, but I will be back at the end. So a simple system that works, and you've heard me say this before, one binder. If you have to have 2, great, but really one binder should do it if you use the system well. The key is to keep it simple. So this is actual live footage of a student, what they came to us with, and then of course what we ended up doing alongside them to streamline their systems and make it so simple. This is it, guys. This is it for my organizational system. Pocket plastic dividers, an agenda, a week on 2 pages, a simple pencil box that can fit right into the zipper binder. If your child's adverse to a zipper binder, a regular binder will do. I just love the zipper binders because they're pretty much indestructible till about May, and then we just hang on for June. But really, these plastic folders, a little bit more expensive in Staples, sorry Staples, but quite a bit cheaper in Walmart, different brand. Here's the Avery number. Okay, please make sure they have pockets because in the front of the pocket goes homework and then one divider per subject. I explain that system in great detail on a link that I will embed in our newsletter as well. Okay, so that's it for organization. Time management and planning, wow, can emotions really, heightened emotions, really be calmed with a common family meeting time. I call it spot time because it's usually on the weekend in my house, Saturday or Sunday. We sit down with our planners, whether they're digital planners or paper planners. I, of course, am biased to paper planners for a number of reasons. We have a 15-minute meeting. Who's doing what? Who's going where? Who's got to practice? Who's got violin? Who's picking up who? Who's going to meetings? And we record it as a family. And wow, does it ever take, saves hours of time, those back and forth texts and phone calls at the end of a school day. I thought you were, no, your dad is, no, picking you up here. Oh, whoops, I didn't know I had that. Super helpful. Again, it takes practice, practice, practice. Remember the scaffolding. So the magic bullet, I say to parents will come to me and say, yeah, but my child won't do this, but they need you with them to do this. Parents need to initiate this. Your child's teacher or tutor or academic coach can certainly coach you on the how of it and what that looks like, but they can't be in your home. They can't make it happen in your home. That's a family piece, and that's a family routine. Study our tower of learning. So I encourage you to print off this and have a little poster where you can be talking to your child when they sit down about what they're doing for their studying. You can ask them what floor they're working on, whether they feel like their brain is being active or passive in the learning. Unfortunately, nowadays, with everything being posted online, super convenient. We don't have papers to worry about. But it really does, in my opinion, and evidence shows it leads to passive learning. So students aren't engaging with information. They're not writing things down. They're not making messy notes, and they're not sharing information with their friends or copying notes for their friends because it's all online. So this is a piece we use a lot in Kaizen when it comes to study skills is creating study routines around activity. Brain boosters. This is the part I referred to earlier where many of our students, especially as teenagers, are lacking this. As parents, we're really cognizant of sleep and exercise and nutrition and really healthy, positive, brain boosting activities for our children. And as our kids get into the teenage years, of course, they need to be more independent. They're making their own choices. This is a good reflection tool to really learn, okay, what does their sleep look like? What's their exercise routine? What's their nutrition like? And dopamine, what are their feel good activities? What's making them feel good in their brain and what's bringing them down? Um, Technology management. This is something that really causes angst in families. My last blog in June was all about this piece, and forgive me, I do have some pretty strong opinions, I suppose, on this. Um, but again, I take a step back and I look at the research, and I think technology is a wonderful thing. Obviously, I'm using it right now to deliver a message. But like anything, there is a tipping point, and what's developmentally appropriate for our kids, and what do they need scaffolding and support with. So, if you look at this picture, we use it actually in one of our workshops, and if you can find the item that doesn't belong, um, and you may notice that there is a piece of broccoli on this beautiful buffet of desserts. And we often, I say to students, we actually expect our students, we expect you to choose the broccoli every day. And you've got this yummy, juicy buffet in front of you every day called an iPhone or a Samsung or whatever device you have in front of you. But you have the world at your fingers. And wow, choosing that broccoli, aka calculus, physics, essay writing, whatever it is, over your favorite dessert is very challenging. And so we as adults need to create those boundaries, those expectations. And I'm not talking about control, I'm talking about boundaries, expectations, predictability as a family. What are you going to do in your family? How are you going to walk the talk? What's the data plan? What's the phone use plan look like? And finally, when we talk to our children, as frustrating as it can be when executive skills are um, challenging and have not fully developed, we sometimes get frustrated and we can pick on heart, saying words like lazy, you're unmotivated, if you tried harder, you're not passionate enough, when I was younger. All of these pieces are really picking on who they are as people. Instead, I encourage you to pick on their brain. So, almost treating their brains as a separate piece of themselves, such as phrases like, I can see your brain is having a really hard time focusing for this calculus assignment. What, how can I help? What can we do to make it pay attention, even for a short time? What do you think will help? Do you want my advice? Um, your brain seems to be really distracted right now. Why don't you take a break? Let's get a snack. Let's get some water. Okay. Um, have you done the 20 and 5 rule? Have you set a timer? That might help your brain pay attention. Versus, I'm so frustrated with you. You're totally lazy. You're watching Netflix. Okay. Just helps to objectify a little bit and save the relationship. and build the relationship. Of course, you can find out more about us here. I encourage you to email me if you have any questions about the content today. Top six, of course, we've got organizational system, time management, spot time, study routines, brain boosters, tech management, brains, not heart. And I hope you enjoyed the last weeks of summer. And I really do look forward to meeting with students and families in September to support better and better. Take good care. Bye bye.